informative and contains my opinion and understanding of the subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, you guys. Welcome. Happy Sunday. So, Melody doesn't usually, she's very, she says, I've got it. She's logging in now. Perfect. I was going to say, because she's not usually the type to be late. So I was really confused, but she should be here any minute and I'll add her to the stage. In the meantime, how's everybody doing? Did everybody have a good weekend? Sarah, keep it up with me living with my mom and you're going back to Green. I'm just kidding. You guys, I don't live with my mom. I'm down the shore. My daughter works down here for the summer. My mom has a shore house, so we're down the shore. Dory, everybody was like, what do you live with your mom? Because I was like, oh, if you hear my stepdad or anything in the background, and they're like, why do you live with your mom? I'm like, I don't live with my mom, I swear. Online, they thought I lived with my mom because I said, if you hear my stepdad or anything. He doesn't even hear me, you guys. He just said, oh. That's so funny. But Melody should be here any minute. Give it 1 second. Sorry, you guys. Of course, the minute I go live, everybody's like talking about their leaving stuff. Oh my God. Yes, Mark, I agree for about 5 minutes. All right, my husband just left. But Thor's here with me. Thor's still here. So I don't know where Melody is. She should be here any minute, you guys. But today we are going to, so let me just introduce Melody before she gets here. And then I'll tell her that I already did her introduction so we could just jump right in. But Melody is a pastor. Her and her husband, Mike, are both pastors. They have a non-denominational Christian church that they have. And they have a lot of members and stuff. They do really good stuff. It's called Notes of Hope. They go out in the community. I mean, they give away, I don't even know where they get all the stuff that they give away. It's just like an abundance of food and clothes and stuff. So whenever I can, I make sure I go and I help them. It's a really good cause. So she has a master's degree and she's going back in theology, I think, and she's going back for her doctorate degree. So she's in her program right now. And for the longest time before I started YouTube and true crime, I did this She Rises, it's called. So if any of you see She Rises on my page, that's Pastor Melody. So like a year or so ago, we just started taping these podcasts, if you will, but I never really did anything with it. So I just put it on my page in case it was helpful for anyone. For example, there's things like adulting is one of them. So we talk about adulting. And another one we talk about all kinds of like everyday issues. So if anybody ever wants to watch them. Oh, Sarah said she's seen them all and they're lovely. Oh, look at you, Sarah. You're blue. Are you happy? Sarah's blue. All right. So I'm just going to start. I don't know where she's at or what she's doing, and I don't want to hold anybody else up. We have a lot going on, so, and I appreciate you guys are even with me today. So I'm going to actually pull up my notes on my cell phone so that I don't have to go back and forth because I have them on both. I'm prepared, like always. Okay, so today's topic is about evil, okay? And Melody is obviously the religious side. And not that I'm not, or I don't believe in God. I do. I just, I can provide the scientific part. I think it's probably, we're going to find a mixture of multiple things. Hi, Bryan. So sadists or demons. So again, I think that's what we're going to talk about. The difference between evil and how do we know? Is there people that are born evil? What do you guys think in the chat? Are there people born evil or is it just a mental illness type thing? Everybody has their own opinion. I do ask before we do any of this today that everybody is respectful in chat. If not, Mark or Sarah will, help me with that, I hope. So if everybody could have different opinions, and hopefully everybody just. So a sadist, real quick. Sarah, you had asked me a question the other day, and I never really answered it. You asked if a sadist, since Bryan brought it up while we're waiting, you were asking if a sadist could be mentally and not just physical. So I was confused on what you mean by that. So if you mean like mental abuse, that would be more mental abuse, I think. So, but if you were watching somebody who just got hurt or whatever and it made you feel good, then we might be talking. Hi, Texas Ranger. How are you? I'm so glad that you made it. We're talking about evil today, and whether it's a biological and environmental thing, or can you be born evil? Is there like a religious sense to it? Leslie and Billy are here too. Hi, you guys. I love it. Thank you guys so much. So Sarah thinks both. So Sarah, if you think both, how would you differentiate between, like, for example, is Ted Bundy, would he be? And we do know that he has. So I guess what I would say is, could Ted Bundy, would you consider him more environmental? Because we know things like his parents made him think that, or his grandparents made him think that they were his parents. My birthday was amazing, Texas Ranger. It was literally the best. I had so much fun. I did not eat steak. What did I eat for my birthday? I don't even know what I ate for my birthday. You guys, I'm a mess over here. Look at me. My hair's all crazy. I'm still in my pajamas. I had plenty of time to go get ready, but I didn't know that I did because I thought that I was supposed to meet on here, Melody. So you guys have now officially seen me at my worst. So there you go. Okay, so let's see what people are saying. So Sarah thinks that it could be both. I did not eat a steak. Let's see. I did have cake. I had ice cream cake. What cake do you guys like the best? Ice cream cake is my favorite. All right, so I'm going to read what I have here. So I put, is evil a scientific problem or a spiritual one? Does neuroscience explain away evil as dysfunction, or are psychopaths born or made? Can we hold them morally accountable? Hi, Guess the Gypsy. So you think that it's more genetic? That's interesting to see what people are thinking. So Look, a Squirrel says, oh, we love you for you not, oh, not the other things. Don't be worried. I love that. Oh, I hear Melody.
Hey, honey.
Hi, Melody. We're live. So there's
Awesome.
some people that are already in chat. You guys, Melody's like new to this. So let's all give her a warm welcome. Melody, just so you know, there's some people in chat that have watched all of our She Rises videos. So
Okay, great.
They're excited that you're here, some of them, because they've seen it. So you guys, this is Pastor Melody Williams. I already gave your introduction while we were waiting. So they know all about you. They know about Notes of Hope. They know about Mike. I gave them the whole rundown. She Rises, all of it.
Awesome. I'm excellent. Had all the technical difficulty,
That's
just
okay.
when you try and get back on something. So, just said I was determined not to miss this moment. So just glad to reconnect with you and our audience. And it's just an awesome opportunity just to be able to give some enlightenment in what we're dealing with this world.
Yes. So what I did was I put together like questions and stuff. So I have a few questions. So what we're talking about right now is evil. Is evil biological and environmental type thing, or is it like a moral thing? What is your, what would you say about this? Because I was just talking on this for a few minutes.
Sure. Well, did you need to finish your thought on it? Because I can weigh in after you're done. Okay.
No, I'm good. I said pretty much that we all figure that it's a little bit of both, but how do we differentiate?
Well, the first thing that if you've been following us, you know that I come from a biblical standpoint. So when we're talking about evil, we would have to determine the origin of it. And of course, the origin of it is in the Bible when it talks about when the serpent introduced something new to Adam and Eve. So Adam and Eve were put in a garden, to live out our life expectancy, which was like 800 and some years plus. Okay, there was no exit plan for us at this time until the concept of evil was introduced. So it came through a serpent, and then he poses a question to them as if God was holding something back from them. So that, of course, piqued our curiosity about the what if and could I? And that was the challenge that Eve took. He says, did God really say? Is this exactly how life should be? Is there more? Is there a better way to do it? It's always the option that the enemy will offer you that you still have a choice to take, whether you choose to participate. And so I just give this to, you, our listening audience, that every time we see the manifestation or the evidence of evil, it all started with a choice. The enemy cannot do anything in this world system unless he has a body to cooperate with. So we see all the travesties that's happening in the world as far as, people like, how could you do that to another human being? How could you even think those? How could you do that? How could you even contemplate, strategically to destroy someone in that degree? So there's so many things that we've seen that are horrific. But then once again, where did the thought originate? That is where we always have to take it back to. So when we think about that, I could say, Jamie, kill yourself. And you'd be like, whoa, that's not my thought. And then you would send it back because it's not your thought. But the enemy preys on I won't say weak-minded people, weak people that are in a crisis or a bad situation that are, vulnerable. Thank you. And then you would listen to something that you would never listen to, just to throw it out there to prove my point. How many times have we done something that we swore in our past we would never do? Oh, I'll never do that. Oh, I'll never do that. And then as you live life, you wind up doing the one thing you said you would never do. Once again, it started with a thought. So if we don't categorize or examine the thoughts that come in our minds, we will never be able to determine their origin. So when something would come to me, you're going to die, I said, wait, that's not my thought. So then where did the thought come from? The enemy only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's his 3 categories: steal, kill, and destroy. So when you have a thought that's in one of those categories, you realize that it's not your thought. And that way you have to resist it. You don't have to receive it, because our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our emotions, they're soil. And whatever we allow to, take dominion there is what we're going to produce. So every day, we talked about the rice experiment. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it.
Oh, no, I didn't tell anybody here, though. Do you want to tell them what the rice experiment is?
So just once again,
crazy, you guys. Wait till you hear this.
I think it's so. This is an experiment that has been done, years and years and years ago. And it's so powerful because it talks about the power of words. And it's called the rice experiment. You can Google it, you can check into it. And every time you've done it, everyone is coming up with the same results. Just to give it to you in a nutshell, I want you to research it, so that you take three canisters of rice, you cook the rice, and then you put them in 3 separate canisters. Oh, sorry. Because Jamie, I'll tell you, I do talk fast.
I talk fast too. They're used to it.
Oh, good. So in the one, you speak only positive words over it. In the second one, you don't do anything to it. In the third one, you speak negative or profanity, whatever, to this one. And you do it for like over a 6 months, 3 months period of time, whatever time you have allotted. And you will see the transformation of the rice, all because of the frequency of your words. So once again, if I'm constantly saying, oh, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, why did I do that? Okay, so then now your soil, your body holds on to that negative wavelength, and you begin to produce what you were saying. So if I say, I can accomplish this, I can do this, I'm made for this moment, I'm built for success. If I'm constantly encouraging myself, then my soil, my mindset is going to now produce or manifest. I love when everybody's using that word now, but it's in the Bible. Manifest what I've been speaking over myself. So once again, you see the evidence of how it in fact can train or transform your future, your destiny, all predicated on what you not only say, but what you more importantly receive in your spirit.
Yes, that was very well said. That was well said. But can you guys believe that? Or somebody said that you're very emotionally intelligent. So if you see it all, I don't know if you could see the screen, but I'll sometimes put up what people are saying. So someone just said that you're very emotionally intelligent. So I wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
And then Sarah says you have to guard the influence upon your mind.
I agree with that, Sarah. Yes, because that's true, because I can dictate or come into agreement with what my future, my destiny looks like when I say the right things over myself. So when I align myself, now, I know in this culture where we're talking about, oh, did you manifest? Did you manifest? Now, the reality is, if I cannot determine what my tomorrow looks like, can I really manifest something that was not already destined for me? All I can really do is come in agreement with it and now move my line in alignment with that. And now I begin to fuse with the purpose and destiny that God had already had for me.
Interesting. And for all the people that are listening, if you guys remember, I gave you that 30-day challenge, and I told you that my pastor friend, this was Melody. She's the one that, so I told everybody to do that 30-day challenge, where if you find yourself saying something negative about yourself, to stop and reflect and try not to do that.
How did it work out?
It worked out for me. I
know for you, did we hear anything back from our audience?
So you guys in the audience, if anybody's done this, let me know if it's worked for you. But I can't believe that just talking like positive things around the rice made the rice grow. Yes. And I guess that's why that also sparks my interest, because that would be scientific. Like, there is something to measure. You start out with this piece of rice, and then over time you remeasure it, and it's now gotten bigger or didn't grow at all.
Yes.
So I think that it's important to see that the two kind of merge at some point.
And you have to really try it. It is so amazing, because we've done it with kids in high school, we've done it with kids in college, just to help them see, because sometimes we pick up different fads that we say, and we don't realize that words have power. Words were not made for just communication. They were made for creation. So when I am speaking, I am creating something that I desire, that I don't desire. So when you look at this, the one that has the word spoken over it positively, the rice is intact, as if you just put it in the jar. But the one that had negative words spoken over it, you see all the mold, you see all the mildew, you see all of it, because it was toxic. And now you see the evidence of it. And now, and you can do it yourself. So that proves to you the importance when you see parents speaking positive or negatively over their kids. You see, the outcome of your children. Oh, you're just like your dad. Oh, you're this, that, and the other. Oh, you're worthless. You're losing. Is that really what you want to produce out of your child? Or even basic yet, with something we can all relate to, a relationship? That if you've got the wrong partner, and you keep saying, oh, I knew it wouldn't work. Oh, I knew they would do this. I keep picking the wrong man. Okay, you are the common denominator. So then you would have to change what you're saying about yourself. This is just a perfect example. Mine was, something simple, that when I would be in the store, it seemed like I would always be in the wrong line, the line that was not moving. And I would always say, Dad, I always pick the wrong line. Okay, I'm having what I say. So then I would need to change what I'm saying to change the outcome that I desire.
Does it work?
So then I would say, I'm always in the fastest line. I always pick the right place. I'm always in the right place at the right time. And can I tell you, since I've been doing that, foolproof. So once again, it's just small, minor changes that we can make in our lives that will impact how our day goes. Command your day. Don't let your day command you.
I love that. Do you think that that's easier said than done, though?
No, it's a practice. I think that it is, but once again, how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So we start today. Today, you know what? Today is going to be the best day of my life. Today is, today I'm going to walk into something. Today I'm going to accomplish something I said I never could accomplish. Today I win. It could be something so simple. I have had some of my clients even do something so, and you think, oh, that's dumb, but it works. That when you sit down and you can write affirmations to yourself and you put it on your mirror where in the bathroom. You look at it every morning. You got to brush your teeth, wash your face. So once again, you say, you know what? This day I will, conquer. This day I will succeed. This day I'm an overcomer. And this day, nothing happens in my life that I cannot win. Whatever your affirmation is, set your affirmation that way for that day. And then when you chronicle at the end of the day, look at all the things that you were able to accomplish. And that will set the momentum for you making that change one day at a time.
I love that. I tell people too that in psychology, the affirmation thing works because your brain doesn't know the difference between you talking to it and someone else talking to it. So that's why you could be skinny, and if somebody calls you fat enough times, you feel fat, even if you're 9 pounds, right? So I think that would be a good example of this. So I'll never forget when my kids, like when the affirmation thing got real big, and I walked past I'm like, who the hell is she talking to? And she's talking to herself in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? I'm like, do I need to check in? Is she okay?
Yeah.
And then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? You go, girl. Whatever, it doesn't. So I think everybody out there, I think I would challenge you to try it, because again, your brain doesn't know the difference between you telling yourself that you're the best or somebody else. I would say, you do have to put actions behind it as well. You can't just think yourself into or do you think you can think yourself into?
So with that too, just to validate what you said, to prove that our mind, our body, our soul, same thing I'm talking about, it will receive what our input is. So that's why you've got to be mindful of what you're introducing to your body. So whether it's through music, whether it's through theater, whatever, because everything, we're a portal. We're like a big sponge. We are going to receive whatever is introduced to us. Whether we receive it and allow it to take root will then produce a harvest. It's just like plants. If anyone is a farmer or you just like to garden, if I put apple seeds in and I begin to nurture it and water it, okay, I don't have to keep digging it up to see if it's growing. No, it's going to take root and I'm going to produce what I put in the ground. So if I produce something positive, I'm going to get something positive. I put in something negative, I'm going to get something negative. But my point to prove what you had said, when we go to the movies, now we know this is fiction in my mind, but my body, my spirit, and my emotion doesn't know the difference. So I'm looking at the girl walking down the street, and now the music comes in, and depending upon the music is going to determine whether my heart rate picks up, right? So now I'm scared, I'm on edge. I've got emotions now with this, even though my mind knows it's not real, but my spirit is processing as if it is. So that's why we've got to be so careful as far as what we allow in, because my mind, my spirit, my emotion doesn't know the difference. So that's why we have got to be more strategic in this season as far as what we allow in and what we allow to take root.
I love that. Oh, look, a scroll says, voicing the affirmation triggers neuroplasticity, and we naturally seek out our mood. So I do agree with that. So there is a biological change that occurs as well,
Yeah.
which you're saying. So I think, again, we're finding that, you could look at this both ways, because I think they like kind of overlap in some way. I think you said to me the other day, you were like, science is finally catching up.
With the Bible. Yes.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. I was like, wait, what? And then I thought about it and I'm like, oh, I see what you're saying. And that's fascinating. Right. So,
Yeah.
And I think that whether, somebody comes from, a religious sense or even a biological sense, I think that there's something here for everyone. Right.
Yeah.
I said, what did I write? I wrote, are intrusive thoughts demonic or neurochemical? So
once again, I think it depends upon the source.
It depends
upon the source.
That's kind of what we just.
If it says something to me, like, you're a loser, you just need to jump off the bridge. Okay. So where is that coming from? Now, would I consider that demonic? I think it would definitely be evil, because I think I have more to contribute to life by living. So, and once again, if you struggle with depression or anything like that, he loves to capitalize on situations like that because you're more vulnerable. So if I've lost a loved one and now I'm grieving and, life doesn't feel like it's worth living, once again, where does that thought come from? Why would you say something that is so valuable and precious to us is not worth living because someone has transitioned? Now, depend upon, how they live their life will determine where they are. So my biggest commitment, same thing, because, I've lost my mother. My biggest commitment to her, yes, I grieved. It was horrendous for me, but was to succeed. So wouldn't that be a better legacy than for me to leave here and then leave my kids and my church family and all of that? So it was to stand in the integrity that she gave me and build a legacy, a bridge for others to follow. That is something worth living for. But once again, you've got to, I say, analyze every thought that comes in your mind, because every thought that comes in your mind is not from you. But the enemy he has mastered this, because once again, he was in the garden. He has mastered how to make your thoughts sound like your thoughts, but they're not your thoughts, if that makes sense. So he sounds like your voice. It's in your head. But then if it's something that you would not normally do in who you are, you have to realize, wait, that's not my thought. And I don't have to receive it. I say, you know what? That's not my thought. I don't receive it. And people have said different things to me, the things you have to work, you sign off on is like, can you believe, whatever their negative banter was. And they say, you know what I mean? They want me to sign off on it. And I say, no, I don't know what you mean. Because one, I'm choosing not to participate. I'm choosing not to allow the negative energy to infiltrate my peace And I say, and I'm opting out to play. I'm opting out. So
I
once
love
again,
that.
that we have to, I think, be more strategic in what we're hearing, what we're listening to, and what we're more importantly receiving, because that is going to shape the trajectory of our lives.
That's awesome. Gutter Snipe, welcome. And they say, I'm watching and listening intently. This is one of my questions. So thank you. So thank you both. So I think a lot of people seek out this type of, because we don't really know, right? I mean, I think you would slap me through the computer that I just said that. What I meant is that we don't see God. So I think for some people, it's hard then to wrap their mind around or believing. And I feel like a lot of times people have to hit rock bottom before they, seek out God. So what would you say to somebody that is struggling with that right now? Like where would they start? Where would you tell them to start if they were trying to
Well,
find their way?
one of the first things I would have to start with life itself, that it is a gift. I said, but more importantly, to show you that you have a concept of God, even though you may not have a relationship with him, that if you could just look at your body, if you do any research on the complexities of our bodies, you would understand there is no way that I came from an atom and just morphed into a person. Even if you want to go as far as evolution, when did the ape stop becoming a man? Because we see them now, they're still apes. So when am I evolving now that now I become into a man? So, and everyone's got their own, and I'm not here to, shuffle either way.
Yeah,
I'm coming
right.
from a standpoint of faith. But now everyone that is, either online watching, you're either standing, sitting somewhere. So just to show you that you've used faith today is that, okay, wherever you're sitting. So let's say if I walked into, you may be in school right now. So if you walked into school, you walked into your home, you did not check underneath the seat, the stool, the bench that you're sitting on to see if the weight, it had the capacity to hold your weight. You took it by faith, didn't you? You didn't go there and tell me, wait a minute now, I gained 5 pounds this vacation. Let me see if it can still hold me. No, you sat down, you opened up your computer, you did what you needed to do, and you took it all by faith. So faith is the language of the kingdom of God.
So
He
wait,
moves by faith.
everybody knows faithful in here because my computer, we call it the little computer that could, because nobody knows how it's still running and like going live. So I think that that's I think that I could validate that by saying I still go live. I'm like, oh my gosh, please, like, don't let my computer go down during this type thing. And if it does go down, it does come back up. I do want to touch on a few things that people said here. So, oh, look, a squirrel says, Vona, is inner dialogue not our subconscious? So I do want to touch on this. So we're coming from both a spirituality place and a place of science. I would say from a place of science and psychology, yes, I do think that there is a subconscious thought process. 95% of it are things that we are not aware of, right? So we're only aware of about 5% of our thoughts. But I think what Miss Melody's saying is that we have our subconscious thought process, and that most of them were creating those thoughts, but that there's some thoughts that if somebody believes in God, and hopefully I don't know if everybody here does, but if you don't, thank you for still sticking it out and listening. But whether you believe in God or not, what Miss Melody's saying is that when you have some of the negative thought processes, that might not be your own. But I do think that we have a subconscious. What do you think about that?
Okay. So even with that though, and of course, my only thing is you have to do an assessment. You have to challenge the thought. So you're saying, okay, if it's an inner thought, why would my inner thought want me to do something negative to myself? So you have to analyze it. Every thought, because once again, every thought that comes in, you have a choice whether to receive it or to reject it. Okay. So if it's just my internal thoughts, my internal thinking process, then why would it default to something negative? And then once again, is it continuous? So that you need to assess the thought to see, is it in fact your thought? Once again, I told you, the enemy is he camouflages. He sounds so much like your inner thinking that you may think that that's your thought, and that you have a choice whether or not to receive it or to reject it. So wherever the thought's coming from, every thought has to originate somewhere. We look at everything around us. Every building started with a thought. The clothes on my back started with a thought. Everything that we see that is manifested that we're dealing with started with a thought somewhere. So there is always an origin of a thought. so that we have to assess what that looks like, its place of origin, and then begin to determine whether or not to receive it and act upon it.
I love that. And then psychologically too, you guys. So I always say you can't think of things that you haven't been exposed to, right? So, so like you're saying, your subconscious are things that you've experienced, things that you're thinking. But so, for example, you're not going to think of a wug. A wug isn't a real thing. I just made that word up. But you're not going to think of a wug in your subconscious because it's not a thing, right? So
Right.
it's a lot of our experiences do shape our subconscious thought patterns. Like, for example, if somebody grows up in a house of abuse, things like that, which on that note, Gutter Snipe says, but religious abuse is so very real. I find it so difficult. I don't even believe in me at this moment, although I'm desperately trying to. So Gutter Snipe, number one, I want to tell you that you found the right group of people. We're all very, very supportive here, and we'll help you find your way back into believing in yourself. But what would you say about this, Miss Melody?
Yes. As far as you're saying, believing in yourself.
So, well, she said, religious abuse is so very real. I find it so difficult. I don't even believe in myself at this time, although I'm desperately trying to.
Okay. First thing I would say to you, I'm not an advocate of, let's say, religion. I'm an advocate of relationship. So let me just make that, pardon me, that difference there. There's sometimes we have our religious systems that are surrounding us. Now, I am a pastor, so don't hear me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes in man's desire to reach God or to be able to express him to other people, we take detours that we shouldn't do. And unfortunately, the sheep or people get hurt by that. So that is just an error of man. And the beautiful thing is, don't hold man in the same platform that you hold God. Because as I search for God, I will find God. I don't have to find a person to link me to get to God, because God said that I would worship him in spirit and in truth. So as you are desiring to seek God, that you, one, step away from all of the noise, all the negative influences in your life, all of the, confusion or the distractions, and just start spending quiet time. And the perfect way to do that is if you could just get, a verse. I mean, hey, we all have Google, something to encourage you. So even if you put in a scripture that would encourage me, and as you meditate on that or spend time with that, God will now begin to open up himself to you, because you're now inviting him in. So in the search to find God, I've got to make space for him. And as I make space for him, he will reveal himself to me. And then his word says he will draw me to him. And then you will find a community of people. And yes, we still are called the church, because we are the bride of Christ. That you will find bodies of believers that are not going to judge you, that are not going to isolate you, but they're going to welcome you for who you are. And that you have a place to grow, to find out more about God, because in our search to find God, he reveals who we are in him. And now as I know who I am in him, I begin to want to be more like him. And so many things that our religious institutions have put in place have driven people away instead of drawing them to. I'm not here to judge you. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. My main assignment, God said that I would love you as he has loved me. That is my true assignment to you.
And that's like treating other people the way that you want to be treated.
All of that is a part of that. That is a part of this, the love language, the search for God. How you look at Jesus's model, even with the chosen, they kind of messed up a little bit in season 4. But anyway, I love that whole, platform that they built, because it is showing the Jesus model, that how he loved and how he was just in the world with the people. Now he, the authority that could have judged us, he still chose to love us. And that's the Jesus model that every church, every institution should be showing to the world that needs. We are searching for answers. We're searching for the God that we want to believe in. But then oftentimes, the line keeps moving, and it seems like we keep missing the point. No, we serve an approachable God. He wants he desires a relationship with us.
What do you think about like growing up in Catholic school? Like we were taught that like God's like going to strike you down. And I don't know. I always grew up with like a fear of God. More so.
Yeah, the fear.
Is that what you mean that you don't like about organized religion?
Well, it's not even that, because of course, when people say I don't like organized religion, you're really saying you like disorganized religion. So, I kind of deal with that. So there is structure in the Bible. But, when we, once again, you're talking about the fear of God, because the Bible, of course, in the Old Testament talks about that we may reverence him. And that word reverence was changed over to fear in the conversion. But it's to honor God. It's not to fear him. Is that, same thing. You would never hear me say GD, and people say it like it's like ice cream. But once again, it's the reverence, it's the respect of God. It's not the fear of God, because God is not a God of fear. He's a God of love. And anything that I would fear, why would I want a relationship with?
I think that's what's so confusing for people is, do you know what I mean? And if you grew up thinking that, if you do this or whatever, you're going to go to hell. What do you think about hell?
Yes. So of course, now hell is a real place. It's in the Bible. Okay. But it was not made for us. It was made for the fallen angels that had a rebellion in heaven. That's what it was created for. Okay.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? Like the fallen angels.
Okay.
Like,
so of course, once again, we're talking about good and evil.
Yes.
So, I mean, and that's a whole theology thing. So we would have to just do a whole nother study on that, but I'm gonna try and give it to you in a nutshell. So there was a battle. I won't say even a word. There was a battle in heaven. And at the time it was, of course, it was Lucifer, which of course we call him. He is not walking around with a red suit and a pitchfork. Okay. I promise you he's not. So he was thrown out of heaven because he tried to take the glory from God, the praise and the worship. He wanted for himself. So he had a selfish spirit. He didn't want to be in order. And our God created all of them, knowing, of course, that he was going to fall. So at the time that he did, he made a place for him to go. And that's where he will end up at the end of time. But while he is not there, he is now still in our world system, trying to see who he can pervert, distort, destroy, kill, and take with him, because he doesn't want to go to the party by himself. So it is the endeavor. Let me just say that it is the endeavor of the enemy, whether you call him Satan, Lucifer, the devil, to pervert God's creation, because God said we are children of his heart. So once again, how better to affect the father than to hurt the children? We're parents, most of us, so we understand that. If I want to get you look at a divorce situation, the first thing they do, what they want to use the kids, right? Because I want you to hurt like I hurt. So that is Lucifer's plan, to see if I can pervert or destroy or try and, make them commit suicide, try and do whatever I can do to steal, kill, and destroy the love, the joy, the peace, the destiny that God had for me, if I can do that by affecting his creation. And he says he loves us. So that's to get at the heart of the Father. I hope I answered that.
You did. And Sarah Adams, first of all, this goofball said that she's born. What did you say, Sarah? She said something like, I was born. She's a descendant of Adam, and then has the S. She was just making a joke because her last name's Adam.
Yeah, she is.
Then she wrote, if I would have heard what Miss Melody just said once growing up, my life may have been shaped differently.
Oh, amen, Sarah. Well, thank you for logging on and allowing me to partner with you in life. And once again, darling, it is not too late. It is not too late. Listen, anytime you know that you can connect with Dr. Vona and I, and we will always help you walk. That is my biggest destiny. And she knows, to walk alongside of you to help you find the destiny God has for you. So it is not too late.
Yes. And you always make time for everybody. So that's great. And then Lucas Squirrel says, preach, Pastor. And then, wait, what else do we have here? Sarah was told every Sunday that she was going to hell for being gay. What do you say about that?
I say that's not true. Not true.
I agree.
I said the main thing, Sarah, is that you have to, and I mean, I'm not even going to deal with the whole thing. You have to, one, find God for yourself. You have to be true to who you are. But then once again, you need to make sure that you are being true to who you are, and you're not being influenced by either something outside that has happened that has tried to steal your destiny. So once again, the main thing, you have to go to the creator that created you and sit with him and say, God, what do you have for me? Who am I truly? And once you know who you truly are in the Bible, everything else in life will fall into place. So he loves you for who you are. He has destiny and purpose on your life. So your job is to link up with that identity that God has for you. And don't let anything, any situation allow you to abort that, because there is purpose on you, and God is waiting to embrace your relationship with him.
And I was going to say, we're just talking about how God is not like an evil person. So I feel like when people try to scare people away from being gay, that it's their own like homophobic self, and that they're not really preaching what God would want. If that makes sense.
Yes. And now all of it is in the Bible. There is the Bible, Ecclesiastes tells us there is nothing new under the sun. This has been something that has happened from the Old Testament, it's in the Bible. So it's nothing new. And you can see how, once again, I think traditionalism has tried to deal with it instead of destroying it. Why don't we sit with them, see where you are, invite you in? Because there are so many ministers that I work on a panel with that have come out of that lifestyle that have given me insight to what it was that got them into it, how it kept them into it, and how they got delivered of it. So all of it is a process. So I don't want you, there's not one cookie cutter way to deal with that. That's like talking about, I can deal with someone that murdered someone just this only way, or someone that has had a premarital affair. You only dealing with them this. We are so many facets because we're made in the image and likeness of God, so that the one approach can't reach everybody the same way. But
Yes.
the fact that you give me a chance to be reached is one of the most important things.
And I would also say that that I don't know. I feel like, for me at least, I feel like being gay isn't necessarily a lifestyle. I feel like God makes us all in a particular way, and that there's no accident. So if anybody's listening and you are gay, just know that there are people out there, including Miss Melody, that embrace you. But know that I personally feel as though that it is that they were born that way, and that it's not necessarily a lifestyle choice, if that makes sense. And we could all, we all have nobody's here to change each other's thought processes. But I just wanted to say that was mine.
Yes. And to know that, one, I would say this from me to you and for the church. First thing, I want to apologize to anyone that's in the lifestyle that has been hurt. Because oftentimes, once again, that is a man's flaw trying to correct or reach you. And that was not necessarily our assignment. My assignment is to love you and to help you find the God that I serve. That is my assignment. So we should not necessarily put fear in you, because we don't serve a God of fear. So I'm not going to say, oh, you're going to hell, you're going this, that, and the other. That if I can walk with you and show you what the word of God says about you and about your life and your destiny, I think that would be more impactful than trying to tell you that I'm going to send you to hell.
I do too. And I think that I don't think I would ever try to change somebody though either, because I do feel like that's how
I think we need to empower people. I want to enlighten you. I want to empower you. I want you to be able to make an informed, intelligent decision about anything that you're doing. That's the same thing. If I'm going into a new career, if I'm going into something that's life-changing, I would get knowledge about it, wouldn't I? Same thing. We went for our doctorate.
But I don't get knowledge. Like I'm trying to put myself in someone else's point of view or whatever. And I would say, I don't get challenged for being straight. Right. So I wouldn't want to challenge someone that is gay either.
Well, I get challenged for being a Christian. Yeah. I mean, I hear you. So there are different challenges. There are different challenges that come to us different way, depending upon who our environment is. So we can challenge someone then. So if I'm around some of my friends that are not straight, I can get challenged why I'm not. Oh, well, you're here, you're engaging with us. So is it something that's rooted in you? So there's so many ways that we can get challenged, because unfortunately nowadays everyone has an opinion, and your opinion wants to impact my life. So that, once again, consider my source. If you're coming to me, and as you're coming to me, then it's like, okay, then right now, am I going to receive what you're saying to me, or if I'm not? So it comes to that we can all be challenged, depending upon the environment that we walk into, that there can always be a challenge. So whether it's straight, whether it's gay, whether it's, homophobic, that there is always an opportunity to be challenged, because we're in this world that opens up everyone's opinion to affect someone else.
Okay. Gutter Snipe says, as a child, I used to wake up in the middle of the night to see if my whole family had been taken away in the rapture, because I felt certain that I'd be left behind.
Wow. That is such a shame. That's sad. That's sad. But, even with that, once again, that comes down to the paradigm of, did someone tell you that you were unworthy? Did someone tell you that you weren't good enough? What word did someone speak over you that impacted you, and you took truth to it because you buried it in your subconscious, and now it would come up like, you better go check, because you're not going to make it in? Who said? Once again, analyze that thought. Who said? Who said that, you weren't going to make it? Who said you weren't good enough? So that we start challenging that. And the best way to challenge it, you challenge it with the word of God. The word of God says, I'm fearfully and I'm wonderfully made. That I am loved by the redeemed, that he values me. There's a position for, so all of the things that we have to uproot, every negative lie and label that has come through us through generation, through kids, through culture, through whether it was ethnicity. If someone spoke something or said something about you that wasn't true, but you believe the lie, you are still living the lie. And as we grow older, that lie will manifest in our life. And you're like, oh, I had that back when I was third grade and my teacher spoke a word over me that wasn't true, but I believed it because it was the authority in my life. Okay, you've got to uproot that. You say, I renounce that lie and I come out of agreement with it, because I'm hearing, how do I do that? So that's what I'm going to tell you how to do it. That you come out of agreement with the lie and you say, and then you have to replace it with the truth. I am who God says I am. I can do what God says I can do. I can be who God says I can be. So once again, you come out of agreement with it, you renounce it, and then you replace it, whatever your truth is.
I love that. And I think that a lot of it too has to do with things like attachment. So the psychology part of that, I would say if somebody asked me why they're not feeling or why they might feel that way, I would say psychologically that we all have an internal working model that we're born with. And our internal working model is like, whether we feel like we're loved, worthy of being loved, whether we feel like we're worthy of loving other people.
Yes,
and
it's a default.
Yes, and a lot of that comes back to our attachments with like our primary caregivers. So I would say because I don't know, wait, who was it? It was something Gunnarsson. You know who you are if you saw this. You're new and I appreciate you being here, but I can't find the thing. But anyway, you know who you are. But anyway, I would say this. I would say that I would challenge and say, do you think there's an attachment issue? And as a result of that attachment issue, it could even be something like a narcissistic parent. You may hear that you're not worthy or, good enough. And I think that also happens. And that would go on, the parent raising them to not feel like they're worthy.
Yes, I agree.
I think that's a good one too. I want to thank Mark. Mark gifted one Minds Behind True Crime membership. I appreciate that so much. So did Sarah. Sarah gifted a membership as well. So I appreciate that. Just so you guys know, I went in, this is off topic a little bit, but I went into my YouTube studio and I realized that YouTube had my gift memberships on like the middle tier. So I changed that, you guys. So I put it down to the lowest tier. So if anybody does buy a membership, and True, thank you so much, because I didn't realize you were buying more expensive memberships, and that's just ridiculous. So I just wanted people to know that. But thank you guys for that. That's great. So then we have, what else do we have here? Oh, Truth is saying everybody should hit the like button. I agree with that. Let me see if I have any other questions here that I have. So, what about forgiveness? What does Jesus say about vengeance versus what psychology says about closure?
Okay, well, I think forgiveness is one of the strongest things that we can walk into, because, of course, the Bible does tell us that as I forgive, God forgives me. So once again, we look at the power that is released in forgiveness. The concept is that we think forgiveness is for the person that has offended me. It is not. Forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with them. Forgiveness is taking your power and your authority back from them. Why would you allow someone, and this is the way I kind of teach it, why would you allow someone that has offended you or hurt you or done something that you have not even talked about to this day, still control you, and they've moved on with life? Why would you keep surrendering that to them? Okay, that you take back your authority, because the reality is when you look at, and so many people, like I said, that we counsel, that will come in and they're like, oh, my mom was this, that, and the other, this, and that. And I said, okay, now some may even be in the grave. I said, what do you think your mom is thinking about right now? Oh, I don't know. Or the boyfriend, we can always do a relationship. What do you think the boyfriend's doing? Oh, I don't know. He's probably living, he's going with somebody else. Okay, so he's moved on while you stay stuck. The best revenge is to release him, let him go, and take back your power and your authority and be all you're supposed to be. So once again, forgiveness is key in the kingdom, because it's one of the ways I have to approach God. That when I say, God, and don't think because you forgive them, it was not wrong. It doesn't mean it was not wrong what they did. It means you are trusting them to a good, faithful judge that is my daddy. God's my daddy. and he will defend me at all costs. So I give them to you. I said, this whole thing, the pain, I give it all to you, and I release it out of my life, and I'm free. And I've had so many people just get free from that when I give them that analogy, as far as, okay, why would you let them still control you? They're
A
not
thousand.
controlling me. They don't deserve forgiveness. No, they don't deserve forgiveness, but you do.
Yes. And
So
it's
when
for you.
you
It's not for them.
choose to forgive them, you release them and you take back your power. You
And
take
what
back everything.
I agree. I agree. And what I would add to that psychologically, I tell people about forgiveness, that forgiveness, I say the same thing you do, is not about telling the other person what they did was okay. It's about releasing yourself from them as far as their power over you. I think it's also important to note that whenever you're feeling this way, to think about what you said, what's the other person doing right now? And if they're living their best life, it's not bothering them. So
Yeah.
but it's bothering you. So it's pulling your energy, but they've already moved on, or they're doing their thing.
Yes.
So I tell people that when you forgive somebody, it doesn't mean that what they did was okay. So just
Yeah.
remember that. And I also tell people, if somebody, when somebody hurt you and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, and you're like, it's okay. You don't have
It's
to
not
say it's
okay.
okay. You don't have to say it's okay. You could
Yeah.
say, I accept your apology.
There you go. Because it's not okay. Because if it hurt you, your feelings and emotion are real. But this is the last part that I want to put with forgiveness. Forgiveness is not reconciliation. Don't misunderstand that also. Just because I forgive them, because sometimes we've got, relationships in our families. It could be a sibling, it could be a parent, it could be a stepfather, sister, brother, whatever, that has hurt you, offended you. It does not mean reconciliation. It means I choose to take back my power, my authority, my position, and I release you. I release you. And it's the same thing, just when I release you, I don't have to be around you. I don't have to entertain you. I don't have to be, out to dinner with you. I don't have to do any of those things to forgive you, because it means, and the test of forgiveness is if I am around you, it no longer impacts me the way it did before. So that, like I said, let's say that it was an in-law or whatever, and now we have to all go out to this family event, and I see them, and before you used to cringe every time you saw them, that means they still had hold of you. That old boyfriend, you would see him somewhere in the neighborhood and you would still cringe. That lets you know that there's still something there. Even though you said, oh, I forgave him. You might have forgave him, or you might have said, oh, I'm over it. Just because I'm over it doesn't mean you forgave him. If there's still an
Or forgot
impact
it.
or
Or
reaction,
forgot it. Or
yes,
forgot it, right?
that doesn't mean you want, because you want to get it out. You want to release it. So when you release it, you're like, okay, I'm free of it. I'm free. I'm clear. You will literally feel a weight drop off of you when you have said, you know what? I said, I'm done carrying it, because it's extra baggage. It's weighing you down.
I
And
agree.
they're free, living their lives. You deserve to be free too, baby.
Yes, I agree 100%. I think if anybody gets anything from this hour that we're talking, that should be it, because I think that that's so empowering in itself. And if anybody thinks about it, if you ever fought with like a sibling or something, think about how it bothers you every day. You wake up and like the minute you guys make up, you're like, oh, that like it was so hard to be mad. So I think people should remember that as well. Also, I want to thank Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for your super chat. She says it's giving yourself grace to surrender to the toxin of anger.
Mm-hmm.
And anger is toxic, right? So
absolutely.
Yes.
It will consume you, but not only does it consume you, but then it begins to morph into something else. It morphs into bitterness. It morphs into, you're now scared of everything. You're paranoid, because all of that, you just look at the common denominator. It is going to come from anger. And now it just begins to change its identity. I say, that you just have to be so mindful when you tell me, oh, I'm shy. Okay, am I really shy, or am I just really fearful with a fur coat on? And I just call it shy because it's more acceptable to be shy than to be fearful. So once again, I'm always like, go to the bottom line. Where's the source coming from?
That one I can't really speak on, because that's one thing I'm not, is shy, right?
No, we're a lot of things. Shy is not one.
Shy is not one of them. Missy J says, good afternoon. What about forgiving someone that you're still afraid of?
Okay. So then I would have to say, are you still in proximity with this person? Do you still deal with this person on a regular? Is it like a boss or something like that? That you're going to have to still begin to create boundaries for yourself and that person, and be able to say, what is it that I'm afraid of? Am I afraid of losing them? What am I really afraid of? And then as you do your, because I'm good for paper, you do an assessment. Okay, what am I truly fearful of? Their response to me, their reaction to me, or me losing them. And then you begin to build healthy boundaries for you and that person to create a safe place for you to operate in.
Boundaries is so important. I'm so glad you said that. Boundaries are so important. I would also say that if you're still afraid of the person, that it's okay to forgive them this is what I would say. And I say this often, but I don't think Missy has heard me say this. Missy, there's good news and bad news. The good news is it's not about you. The bad news is it's not about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Main thing is mine would be to create a safe place for you. You have to have a safe place for you. So that way, so if I'm fearful around this person, it sounds like, is it a control thing for them? Because of course I'm feeling kind of relationship. So is it more of a controlling me that, hey, I still love this person, but I'm afraid of them? Then mine is always the defense mechanism. Are you in a safe place for yourself? And that's your peace, your joy, your physicality. All of those things play a part in you creating a safe place for you.
Yes, I agree. And I think that there's resources out there for people. And a lot of times we just don't know that they exist. So I tell people all the time, use ChatGPT, it's AI, and ask it for resources. It will literally scan the entire World Wide Web and give you resources in your area. So just ask for it type thing.
Yes.
And know that there are people out there that do care, that have even been through a situation that they feel like they can help you with now because they've been there and done that. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because then you can give that back going forward yourself. You know what I mean? So then we have over here, so Sunflower Soul. Oh, I like that name, Sunflower Soul. She says, I love that Miss Melody doesn't like the GD language. I guess the God language. Oh, no, the GD. I know what she means. Remember when you said the thing that you don't say? Yes. People think I'm old fashioned, but even my 19-year-old says, oh my gosh, around me, because he knows I would rather him slip an F-bomb than God's name in anger. I have to be honest, me too. You guys don't ever hear me say anything like JC. I even repeated this GD because I didn't want to say it.
No, we won't say that, because the reality is, though, that is a part of relationship. Perfect example. I have never called my husband out of his name because I honor him. So same thing, it's just, the culture is changing that we're living in. I'll hear girlfriends talking about, oh, you be, I'm like, dude, what kind of relationship do we have that you would call me out of my name, even in play and jest? I think I can find something more fitting to call you than a B, and most of y'all know what that B stands for, because I hear it so much around the new generation. They're like, oh, she's such a B. I said, okay, you can find, if she's your girlfriend, could you speak something positive over her just as quick? I'll say, hey, love, hey, beautiful, whatever, because words of affirmation, I would rather build you up than to tear you down.
Right.
So,
and some people will say that they mean that. Some people will say that they mean like the B word as like, as like, just like, oh, what's up or whatever. But I guess there's people out there that don't hear it that way. So if you say it to somebody that doesn't hear it that way, they're going to take it in as a negative.
Right. Because one, what is it derived from? We're back to the source again. Was it something that was given to us, positive or negative?
It's cultural, I think.
I think it totally is. But once again, we should be culture changers.
Amen to that.
We should be culture changers. Instead of conforming, why don't we transform?
Yes. Young Black economist. I just wanted to welcome Young Black economist. I have people coming through. I always like to shout them out.
That's fine. Absolutely.
Yes. So then I will always love my sister. However, she is not a person I can be in a relationship with because I value my own self too much to allow her hurt.
Okay. Once again, you built boundaries. Perfect.
Yeah.
You said, it's mine. I said, I love you at a distance. I love you at a distance. So, yeah.
Sarah says that pride is cowardice. I usually say that pride is a crutch for insecurity.
Well, I think it's really how it's focused.
That's true.
Because I think it's how it's focused. Because if I'm confident, and I am a very confident woman in you know, the life, the centuries I've had to deal with, I've had to be a strong woman. And whether they say it's a strong Black woman or not, I'm just a strong woman. And then I know when I walk into the room, the atmosphere that I command because of my presence, that I'm there.
I love
So
that.
I am proud of who I am and what I have accomplished, but I am not boastful with it. There's a difference thing. That
Okay,
can
I
be
see.
proud. I can stand in who I am. I stand in my own integrity. I stand in my own power. But then if someone else walks into the room as confident, I would celebrate them. I would not be like, oh, look what she has on. You see what I mean? So just because I think it's in the genres that we're put into, how my pride is released, that
Yes.
it can be, you know, abated, or I can be subdued with it, because I don't have to prove to anyone else who I am. So I
No,
think how we channel the pride that we carry, and
I
as
love
long
that.
as it is constantly lifting and edifying other people around me, then it's a beautiful thing. I would encourage someone to do. How did you get where you are, Miss Melody? How are you doing what you're doing? Let me tell you, I
I
don't
love
carry
that.
pride as far as something to make someone feel inferior or not enough. Then that is the misuse of pride and authority.
Yes, and I'm glad that you said boastful, because boastful is probably what I was thinking of when I said a crutch for insecurity, because I'm thinking of pride as like putting everything on social media, you know, that you want people to see, but none of the things that you don't. But that would be more boasting. So I'm glad that you differentiated between the two.
Yes, that was it. So, you know, thank you for the question. You know, these are good questions.
These are great questions. I love these. I love this group. They're great. Okay, so we have someone that says, my brother has been gone almost 20 years and I still hate him.
Okay. So
And this person
I
is
guess,
very, very, very hurt by her brother.
okay, so I was going to ask you a question. So gone as far as deceased,
He's
or
gone.
just
Yes,
gone?
he's deceased. He's
Okay.
deceased.
So once again, you can still forgive him from the grave. So it's not like the person has to physically be here.
Because
It
it's
is just
not
you're
about him.
released. Say again?
Because it's not about him.
No, no.
That
But
you.
it's more about you and really taking it back. Okay. Once again, it's not saying anything that he did to you was right. Not saying that, you know, that he's going to get a crown and glory now because you forgive him. It's not about him. It's totally about you and your health and your mindset going forward in life. And I don't care if you're in your 40s and you've carried it this long. It's never too late to release him and to choose to live for you. So even with that
That was
pain,
so
there's
well
so
said.
many ways to restructure and to repurpose pain. Boy, that could be a book. Anyway, to repurpose pain, because you could now begin to write about what you've expressed, which of course is helping you get it out. We're giving him that you could help someone behind you. I'm all about empowerment, that you could help someone behind you of how you got over what happened to you. And now it did not destroy you, but it made you stronger. The fact that you were still here lets you know that you're stronger than you knew, that whatever you've been through would have killed someone else. They might have, you know, been in a sane asylum now, taking all kind of medication, just trying to cope with life. But the fact that you're here, you're coherent, and that you're able to hear speaks to the fact that you are a survivor. And
Yes.
the fact that you survived everything that he put you through, I celebrate you.
That is
And
so well said.
you are not a victor. You are not a
No.
victim. You're a victor.
Yes, I love that. Sarah says, she doesn't tolerate this kind of talk toward her. Whoever's talking bad about Sarah in chat, please stop. And Truth or Sarah or Mark, feel free to. I don't know what the person said, but if it was disrespectful, please time them out or something, or kick them out of the thing, because I don't want disrespect. Cursing is not always a curse if used correctly and with judgment and caution. So I think that goes back to the thing gutter snipe about cultural. So I think that, like, if I see my daughters and her friends and they say like, what's up, bitch, to each other, I don't assume that they're like downing each other, because I also know that that's part of the culture. But I think what Miss Melody's saying is that we should change that, right? Kind of like changing other things that we shouldn't
Because we
say.
could say something else. That's all. I mean,
Right.
okay, hey, worst case scenario, use their name.
Yes.
Newsflash update.
And if I
But
forget their
because,
name, I'll say like boss.
yes, because it does have a negative reference with it. That's my only point. So once again, going back to our original, how we opened up, how words were not just made for communication, they were made for creation. So I'm releasing anything out of my mouth that I would love to see created in that person's life. So, you know, who was, I mean, you could find, and even like a test. Okay, you know, I'm always like doing a test. So when you go out today, whether you're out today, I want you to find one person to compliment. It's
I love that.
easy. It's easy to do, but one, you can change I can never forget, there was, okay, so I always got a story. There was this guy that was on the bridge, and he said, if one person acknowledges me and says something positive, I won't kill myself. Okay, needless to say, the guy did jump. Thank God he survived. And
Oh my
so
God,
when
I
they
see.
begin
I talk about him all the time.
okay. So once
Golden Gate
again,
Bridge.
yes,
And he
once
lives in New
again,
Jersey.
that
Yeah.
one interaction with a person could have changed the destiny of his life. So we should be encouragers. Once again, I want us to be culture changers, that we could say something positive over a person. Hey, listen, I'm a person that, I work I work at the airport. I'm with a major corporation. And that I always make sure I acknowledge the cleaners, because there's people that go unseen. But because I love clean facilities, I appreciate them.
Yes.
So, and it's always like the people that you don't see, the guy that's picking up the
I love
trash,
that.
the guy, whatever, that you take a moment to acknowledge them, because they are helping to make your life
I
better.
love that.
And it's not something hard to do. So
I love
even
that.
today, our challenge, just go out, compliment somebody, let them know that they're seen. Let them know that they
Yes,
matter.
I agree.
And it's
Yes,
just, it's little things like that.
that's a great assignment. Yes, that's a great assignment. Sarah, thank you for gifting a membership. Young Black Economist says, I was about to say that I'm a strong Black woman, but hide my power level, which often leads people to underestimate me to their eventual loss. Shake my head. Real quick, before you answer this, I will say this, young Black Economist, don't dim your light to make other people feel better, because people will fill in the blanks about your identity when you don't let them know who you are. So I say, don't dim your light, be who you are. But I see what you're saying. So they eventually underestimate you and then you shine. I like that too. What would you say to this?
The first thing I thought in my spirit was be authentic. Be the authentic you that you are, because I've been in your shoes. I'm in your shoes, that you never know what you're getting. I am multifaceted. I said, and depending upon how you approach me will determine what you can get out of me. So once again, if it's to their demise, that's on them. God has got another door that he's going to open for you. Be true to who you are. And the Bible says that your gift will make room for you. So as you continue to grow, as you continue to soar, things will come to you unexpectedly that you weren't trying to pursue, doors that you don't have to fight to get open. Doors are going to fly open for you because of what you bring to the table. So once again, sister, be authentic.
I love that. I feel like that's how I feel about YouTube right now. Heather, welcome, Heather. Heather says, very true, Betsy Ross. I'm not a religious person, not a fan of organized religion. I do respect it. I am very spiritual. So I think you're in the right place, Heather, because when we started out, I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but Miss Melody was talking about how I think you used a different word than organized religion, but that you're more of, you believe in the Bible. How did you say it?
No, it's like people talk about religion. I'm more about relationship, because we talked about the whole thing as far as, people say I'm not about organized religion. So am I really saying I want disorganized religion, even though there's structure in the Bible? So my main thing to you, welcome to the platform. That's one. I said, and to be able to say, I will always come from a platform of having a relationship with God, not necessarily binding ourselves to a particular structured relationship that does not lead particular religion that does not lead me to relationship with God.
I love that. Let me see if there's any other things here before I let you go. Let's see. So had better days, but still this one's better now. Oh, thank you. Someone said that she's had better days, but now today's better. So again, I think that just that one comment says to me that I did the right thing today by logging on. So
Yes.
like you were saying, someone's words could really change you. So, and this is someone that I haven't seen before in chat. So if you were in chat before and I didn't see you, I apologize, but I'm seeing your name for the first time and I hope that you do come back. And I think that you would say that it wasn't by accident that she found this today and logged on. And like you said, words really do matter. So the fact that we can impact even one person by using our words is just amazing.
Yes. And of course, even with that impact, please make sure you are impacting yourself. Self-care, self-awareness is always so important. So once again, I tell you about the power of affirmation. So if it's something that you want to accomplish in your life, I would say put a sticky on your mirror in the bathroom. I said it's between you and start your day. Perpetually, pour into your day what you desire to get out of your day. And then at the end of the day, you do a closer as far as all the things that you were able to accomplish, how seamless your day was. And then as you do that, you create that habit. And now you're walking and you're not even thinking about it. And then you're affirming yourself as you're going throughout today. I can in fact do all things. I am mighty. People don't know who I am. And of course, mine is I will always get a scripture that I will meditate on that tells me I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That is mine, especially if I'm going into a board meeting. I've got a new interview in this new position this week. That is my meditation scripture. I know I'm always doing something good. But I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Do you realize how many times I have gone into a meeting, did not know what they were going to say, what they were going to ask me, and then wisdom will show up. And it's not me. It is totally him. But in fact, that I invite him in today. And as I invite him in, he always has the answer because he wants me to succeed.
I love that. I love that. Mama Don, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. I love this. So somebody said that we should be doing this more on Sundays. So how about this? Whenever you want to do this on a Sunday, you let me know, because I think that there's people that would show up for it. And what I would say to everybody watching is that I can put up like the thumbnail from earlier on so that people could hit notification for when we come on. But people are saying definitely, definitely. So, yep. So they want to hear more of us. Miss
Amen.
Melody.
Well, we're such a dynamic team.
We are the dynamic duo. We are. We do work well together. Everybody's saying thank you for stopping by. Everybody appreciates you.
Thank you for letting me in.
Good, though, to know that people appreciate.
Yeah, thank you for letting me in.
Yes, the first time we did this, I feel like we didn't know because there was nobody to listen. So I feel like we both did it every week, not knowing if anybody would ever be reached by it. So to know that there's people that have listened to it and that they are reached is amazing. And I would say to anybody that did just stop in that if you go to my channel on YouTube, any of the ones that say She Rises are the ones with Miss Melody. So we've done so many different topics. So please go listen. Jeff says, Melody, thank you for letting God use you to inspire the way you are right now. Awesome.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, pretty Jeff. And then I have one more here. It was no accident that I'm here. Dr. Vona, my friend Lucy recommended me to you and your channel. We met briefly in a short with Sirius. I do remember now. You were both so welcoming and warm. So I'm back. Please come back every single Sunday too. I would love it. Or every single time I go live, actually. So there you go. So wait, can you send out notifications? So Missy, I'm glad that you said that because I feel like a lot of people don't get my notifications. So maybe I could come up with like an email type thing where I can email people, but always check on my community post because I usually would put out there like a tentative schedule of what I'm doing that week. Miss Melody, I thank you for coming today, and I hope you join us again.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a promise. I have missed you so much. That is totally, that is my sister. That is my sister. I love her. From the time we met, it was TNT. It was explosive. And so
I do. I love it.
Yeah, and
wait, my family's laughing. They're like explosive. That's definitely Jamie.
See,
right?
I coined it right. So it was meant for us. It was meant for us to connect. And then over the years, God has just developed this relationship. And now we're on this platform together. It was meant to be because Jamie told me that she wanted to do this. She said, but it was a missing link. And I was the link. And I said, okay, God. So we prayed about it. And here we are. And I love the way that we can do, spiritual and science together. And I think that is where we all are trying to get understanding where we are in life.
Yep. And yes, Sarah, that was my mom in the background. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you all go. I hope you all have a beautiful Sunday. Do your homework. So the homework was to go out there and at least compliment one person today. Okay, so everybody go out and at least one person.
And then look at the rice experiment. That was the second part of the homework. Look at the rice experiment.
Other part of the homework. Yes, look up the rice experiment. Like literally like rice that you eat. Look up the rice experiment, and it's about.
It's right there on YouTube.
Yes, it's on YouTube, and
just showing you the power of words.
It's showing you the power of words, and it's something that we could all buy, right? Rice to see and do our own experiment. So I love that. Somebody asked if you have your own channel. No, she don't. I don't think you do. Do you have your own channel?
No.
But you could come see Miss Melody over here. She's getting her doctorate right now, so I don't even think you would have the time to add a channel. But you could come here every Sunday or whenever you want. Everybody's saying how great you are. Thank you again for coming. I
Thank
know
you.
this is such a great place for compliments.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so,
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you for receiving. That is always mine. Thank you for receiving. I just bless each and every one of you. And I trust that something we have said will encourage you and that will outlive us and outlast us, that it will take you
Yes.
throughout your day, that you remember something we said on this platform that will change your life. So I bless
love
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Love you, Miss Melody.
Love you, baby.
I'll see you. Bye.
All right.
Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this so that I can continue to bring you content. Thank you so much.